How's it going, everybody? I am Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back with another session of Adventures in Middle-earth, our D&D 5e campaign set in the world of Middle-earth, taking place between the years of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. We are joined by two of our players tonight. Two of them are out for the count. I did see Spider in the chat, so hey, how's it going, Spider? But yeah, we are just plugging along with craziness that happened from the past couple of streams. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the two players that we do have, starting with Valineth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Forged or Dain here at Fantasy Forge Studios, and I play the character Valineth. He is a high elf from Rivendell, and he is a scholar. So he does all the healing. He uses a bow, but he is the perceptive one of the group. He's like, I think, the only one with a high wisdom stat. So let's hope I can roll better today, unlike last week.
And as we learned last time, apparently Jess is the only one with a high charisma stat. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that tubby Australian. I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our young man of Rohan. He is the Slayer and kind of the shield of the group, the brick wall that all enemy attacks fall upon. And he's pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked to be back after having to be sick last week. And very excited to see where we're going to go today.
Absolutely. And our last two players, again, we're not joined by their physical player, but we have Jessamine Sackville Baggin. She is a hobbit from the Shire. She's a treasure hunter, and she, as I had mentioned, is very persuasive in many ways, but also, has some sticky fingers, or at least is good with them. But she's a mystery that is continuing to be uncovered as this party continues to adventure with her. And then our final player is Feanor. So Feanor the Lochduin, he is a Mirkwood elf, and he is a slayer. So he, like Theodric, is one of the brick walls of the party, and he uses his great spear and a number of other weapons to ride Nympharion, his majestic white hart stag, into combat, which we have seen many a time. But yeah, we got the two barbarians, and then we also have a treasure hunter and a scholar as part of this company of adventurers. And I am Kyle. I am the lore master of this campaign. I play both with and against these players as they traverse Middle-earth, helping to narrate a story that they are beginning to weave within the untold pages of Tolkien's world that he has created. But it is my pleasure. I'm very excited to be able to be joined by two of our players tonight and to see where this goes. So, without further ado, a little bit of some recap to remind you all what happened last week. And so, the group, they're currently on an adventure, this company of adventurers from all over Middle-earth. They gathered together from one place or another, but they had departed Roscabel after the Folkmoot down there with word from Shadrach, who got word from Dodie Brandybuck. Essentially, Dindy's been missing, or at least they have no idea where he is. He hasn't been written back, and so he sent Shadrach down to Roscabel in order to find adventurers. Fortunately, Shadrach came across this group of adventurers, to which they took him up on the offer to go and seek out Dindy Brandybuck in between the Misty Mountains and the Easterly Inn, which lies within Wilderland. The last that they knew of Dindy and company is they were on a trip to the Shire in order to restock goods for the Easterly Inn for the upcoming year. On their way back, the last that they heard is that Dindy and company had last left Rivendell and haven't been heard from since, and it has been long past due for the time for them to be able to return. And so, with that being the case, the group set out along the eastern shore of the Anduin, making their way northward. I have a map set up here, so that's good. Making their way northward from Roscabel, all the way up to the Old Ford, to which they found the Beornings, who are having tolls across. They made a really good impression on the Beornings, and so they were able to cross with a discounted price, I might add, per person, which was good because that allowed them to also get some extra information into good place of rest and respite, and also with a promise of telling the Beornings what news of what's happening west of the Anduin. And so the group started making their way up into the foothills of the Misty Mountains, still on the lookout for Dindy and group. During the night, they started to, well, at least Jess started to hear a number of kind of strange calls on the wind. But the early mornings proved to be quite difficult as the Misty Mountains drop a whole bunch of fog in the basically fall seasons, to obscuring everything from view in the morning hours, the wee hours all the way until about mid-morning before it finally does clear off. The first night they were able to rest pretty soundlessly, and then the second night they actually came across the ruin that they were told about, in which they set up camp and started enjoying a little bit of time there, to which some good conversations had, talks about Shadow, dreams about being back in the Shire for Jess, figuring out that call that was on the wind is the call of a pony, which could be an indicator of they are coming close to finding their quarry. And finally, with basically the night ending and the lifting of the fog, the group found themselves no longer in a ruin, but in a populated town that is completely abuzz with energy, missing their horse and so Baradarok and Nim in the process. So they set out looking for such a beast, a majestic brown horse. And they went into the kind of the stables kind of district, and they noticed that there weren't a lot of people there, but there was somebody creeping on them from off in the distance behind a barn door, to which they investigated. They later found out that this fellow was a person by the name of Calum, to which Valinith, being alive during this time, which they found out they were actually in the past, 299 years ago, in fact, they discovered that this man is none other than Grim, trying to escape, son of Heophod, who ran this town. He is escaping with a young lady by the name of Thalissa, because he doesn't want to marry who his father is intending him to marry, the suitors from down south in Rohan. So he intends to escape. He does not trust the party at all, but this evening he is attempting to make his quick escape in order to choose love over his duty as ruling these people of Haycombe, the city that they are in. And so, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave give the game over to my players. The last thing that you heard is you were about to leave this barn. You can see it in Calum's eyes that he is relatively untrusting of you. You haven't done much to prove your worth. You've listened to his tale, and he has asked you for help out of essentially necessity. You can tell that this is a desperate man in his desperate hour. Feanor and Jess, the two of them, they are adamant about going to investigate the front gate. But Theodric and Valinith, what are your thoughts on the matter before the group departs?
Am I muted? No.
You're good.
Theodric is... He's kind of baffled. Like, obviously, if they are in the past, as Valinith has found and discovered using his innate wisdom and old person knowledge.
And also, you asked someone that was in the town, and they told you.
Yeah, right. This is not any sort of magic or situation we've ever dealt with before. In fact, this is magic on a scale that Theodric cannot comprehend, really. Like, because, he's heard the tales and fables of Gandalf and Lady Galadriel and their acts of magic, but nothing comes close to time travel shenanigans. So on one hand, his kind of, I'm not going to say scared, like genuinely concerned about how they got here, what has brought them here, and for what purpose. On the other hand, discovering that he is amongst the Northmen 300 years ago, potentially his forebearers, his ancestors, he's excited. He's very excited to see if maybe there's something he can discover, either about his bloodline or himself. But but he's also trying to rein that in as to not weird out Calum.
Weird out the locals.
Don't weird out the locals by asking too many questions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do we stand out with our clothing? Are we like future people with
No.
what we're wearing?
And so
good.
that's the one thing that you have noticed upon being in this town is it is very much a trade town. Kind of think back to your time in Esgaroth, where there were you don't really stand out. If anything, Valinith, it took people a while to discover that like you're not a Mirkwood elf, you're one from way further west. And so that's kind of like where you're in. Plus, with this being in the Misty Mountains, Valinith, you absolutely do not stand out being a high elf from Rivendell, as you are pretty much the closest neighbors to these people of Haycomb. Theodric, you don't stand out at all. If anything, you probably fit in more than anyone, with this being North folk, very much Rohirrim blood in their veins. The only one who really stands out the most is Jess, but from what I understand, Jess is posing as a child at the moment, with Feanor being the father, or something like that. But Feanor, he is also a Mirkwood elf, which you met Rodwin already, and Rodwin is a Mirkwood elf as well. So the group of you can travel about without probably causing too much suspicion.
Valinith turns to Theodric and Calum, and he says, I know there's not a lot we can do to prove our trust to you, but if there's any way we can help, our service is yours, my friend.
He kind of stares at you, and he squints his eyes, and they relax a little bit. He says, I've told you the plan. Up until this point, I plan to escape tonight. It's been decently thought out from, well, at least myself and Thalissa. The easiest way out of here would be through the front gate. And he actually gestures over to you. So I wanted to further emphasize kind of what's been going on. He tugs at his horse's basically reins, and actually, Theodric, I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
You got this.
And
Let's not roll bad today.
But he essentially says, if we can get past those gates, no one would be able to catch Nalada on an open sprint out in the open. No horse here. Well, perhaps not even a horse in Rohan would be able to catch him. And that is just our plan, to outrun those who wish to keep me here. For you, being able to help us out. And he mentioned to you previously that in the north tower of the front gate, there is actually a mechanism which 2 guards are posted at all times to essentially open and close the front gate. And he also had described that the gate is shut at night out of fear of orc and bandit attacks.
okay. Also, that perception check was pathetic. I'm sorry, Valinith. I don't like our odds of getting good rolls this time. It's a 3.
okay.
A 3.
That is a perception check of 3.
You notice that this horse is very akin to Baradarok, and it's large, and you can tell, the one thing that you've been able to tell is it trusts its master much like Baradarok trusts you. But other than that, you're unable...
If I'm checking a horse out, can we make that animal handling?
You can make an animal
Please.
handling check if you want to go closer to investigate.
Okay, I don't want to like touch another man's horse without his permission, but like, oh come on, that's an 8. Okay.
Get him out of your
Hang on.
system.
Hang
it's
on.
fine. It's fine. Get him out of your system.
With that 8, you kind of look closer and you examine Nalada for a little bit, and you can see that there's a deeper understanding than what you would see in just a normal horse's eyes. It seems determined, but it seems burdened. This could potentially be because of what Nalada is carrying upon himself. Not only does he have saddlebags and a number of rations and stuff for the journey ahead, but he is wearing a very unique set of barding for him as well. It's a mixture of metal and very finely ornate leather plates that basically protect him from all sides. You have never seen, outside of your rides in Rohan, a horse that looks like they are more ready for battle. This is a war horse.
There you go. Valinith turns to, the group in general and says, well, it seems that you need to get out of the gate itself, and maybe leaving at night maybe isn't the best idea, but if you have to leave at night, is there any way we can get into the tower without causing anything, or is it only for the guards?
Feanor, he kind of laughs. He's like, or we could get them over the gate.
How do you
That
plan on
sounds
getting
like a
the
challenge.
horse over the gate?
Oh, no. I had mentioned before, if we just pose as if we are buying this horse and we can get the Nalada out of here with all of the goods, all we would have to do is just get Thalissa and Calum out of here.
I just feel like that's just not the best idea, considering the fact he's the son of the king of here. Like, everyone's bound to know the horse. He's not going to just sell his horse. A predicament indeed.
Theodric turns to Calum and says, how well trained are the guards in this town? Are they professional soldiers or just townsfolk given weapons and made into the town watch?
They are not just a simple town guard. They are warriors by trade. Actually, our people, before we established Take-Home, no more than, I think it was 8 years ago, we were people constantly at war, up in the northern vales of this land. We fought against the very tribe whom Thalissa comes from. And he basically, you could tell that they look quite different in appearance. And actually, Theodric, I'm gonna have you make a lore check for me or a history check.
Okay, where's my history?
We're just in the middle of Romeo and Juliet right now. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, basically.
Nat
Just-
20!
This-
See, you got out of your
That's
system.
actually
You know-
a 19. My
You
bad.
know exactly what this is about, Theodric. Actually,
Does she remind me of Mario?
a little bit, but it's one of those things where it's a very similar feud between the people of Rohan in current day and the Dunlendings, those of basically southern Eriador. You basically, the people, the sons of Errol, are tasked with keeping the lands of Rohan safe, and you are a warrior people, where those are the Dunlendings. You're not quite sure about the other tribes of the north, but they are a much more wild folk, and if anything, what they do is they actually make their livings by preying off of people and basically sweeping through and razing villages. And they also have a the Dunlendings have a deep-seated hatred for those of Rohan, for those of Rohan. And so you're not quite sure if it's to that extent of what these two peoples are, but they're clearly from, like as you had mentioned, Valinith, Romeo and Juliet kind of situation here.
Okay, so what I'm thinking, and I'm just spitballing here. Do you believe I could potentially get these guards drunk, and then after they pass out from the drink, open the gate for you?
He looks and he kind of like raises his eyes to.
I can drink. I can drink like a horse.
And like back to you, and he says, "That's an idea. Perhaps. It's something that I have never really thought about, as these guards, they are trained warriors, and they will follow my father's word to the end. They have been tasked with keeping an eye on me specifically. They would be wary to share a drink with the son of their lord, but perhaps someone they don't know."
A fellow warrior hoping to swap sword tails and some ale, perhaps?
He looks to you and says, "If you want to inquire more about where you could have perhaps fetch something like this without being too revealing of your intentions. There's a great river that actually separates the two sides of this town. And there, close to the gate, we have a docks. There's a barge there that we use to transport goods, as the main road comes through the southern half of the town. And we transport via barge a number of goods to the north side of the town, or even out from the north side of the town to the south. Last that I heard, there was a decent shipment of ale, a very fine ale, coming from those of Mirkwood. And, let's just say that my father's men have a particular liking for such. So if you want to go check out by the docks in order to purchase such a drink, I'm sure they would never turn that down.
Is there also a fine drinking establishment in town, one in which we can perchance run into such guards?
Just across the main road, there is the Fallen Goat Inn. It is well known around these here parts for having pretty good drink. Yes, guards, you will see them there, but you will find a number of travelers. As it is the most popular and most eastward establishment. In fact, it's actually no more than just 3 buildings up from the main gate. If you want to go look there, you might find guards there. You might find people of all walks who maybe have information that could be able to help us with our endeavor.
I guess that poses the question. What can we do to earn your trust? Because I know you mentioned earlier that you can't trust us leaving here.
He thinks for a moment. If night falls, and guards are not knocking at the door here, at least we can gain a little bit of trust with you. The problem is, if we're caught before we even start, I fear that Thalissa and I will never find our way out of here, but we're in a bind. Everybody is on the lookout for me. I cannot leave this place, especially during daylight. One of the things that you guys had also seen upon, because you woke up basically right by the front gates, and the main stretch of road, there are people walking all up and down. There is no way that you would be able to just waltz out the front door. There were a number of guards that you were able to see, but also people are being checked in and out of the gates too. You wouldn't be able to just be like walk out the front gate and be on your way, essentially. That was something that you did notice waking up right next to the gates.
Well, in case the drinking plan doesn't go completely according, do you know of any other way in and out of the city?
It's not the preferable way, as I would have to leave Nalada back behind. But there is one way. As I had mentioned, there's a river that divides this town. I'm sure you've noticed it. It goes underneath the barricade, the wall that separates the outside from the inside. It is not preferable, as Thalissa is not a great swimmer. But by riding the currents all the way down to the Anduin, we can make our way from there.
Okay.
Again, it is not preferable.
We're gonna call that the last resort option.
Yes,
for
I
now.
agree. And we need plans A's, plan B's, plan Z's, in fact.
Well,
even.
I think, for now, Valineth and I will go to the inn, the Falling Goat, I believe you called it, and we'll keep our ears out for any useful information, see if we can get anything going with this plan. Hopefully we can get these guards drunk, maybe get some of that Mirkwood wine you were telling me about from the docks. For now, I would say you and Thalissa should stay here. Perhaps you should, I'm not going to tell a man how to treat with his horse, but, it might be a good idea to get rid of, what was it, barding, you called it? It might be a good idea to get rid of some of that barding. It's a very signature look. And, if perhaps you can make what's his horse called? Naladir?
Nalada.
Nalladog. That's how I remember it.
Naladar? Perhaps if you could get Naladar, get rid of it, Naladar could move a bit more swiftly and quietly.
Make a persuasion check. This can be at
You got
advantage.
this. You got this. And
That
in the
is
meantime,
that is an 18.
oh, let's go.
You're right. Our first and most immediate threat is making our way through the front gates. Plan was this would be at least a little bit of protection if we were to encounter orcs on the road, but Naladak outrun any wolf. Fine.
Well,
you make a
if-
fair
if-
point.
you don't need to worry about it too much. If you really desire it, one of us could probably sneak the barding out with us later and maybe meet up with you further down the road. You know,
That's a thought.
potentially.
He begins and kind of like jostles around some of the reins and everything and says, well, these aren't easy to put on and take off, but we have about, and he looks, he like kind of like peers out one of the windows. We have a good 6 hours before dusk even begins to break. Plenty of time for Phyllis and I to be able to prepare. But we are counting on you. Secrecy is of utmost importance. You do not know us. You have never seen us. You are visitors from afar, from what I can tell, and as such, nobody knows you. However, there will be those that inquire about you as well. People are suspicious. Especially, my father's men. Not a word about Thalissa and I. And if you return here by dusk, you have my complete trust.
Well,
Well-
mum's the word.
I agree.
Let's get this plan on the road, Valinus.
Yes, and Feanor and Jess, you two mentioned that you want to go investigate the gate. Maybe that could be a good idea for, and then we can meet at the goat that is falling the inn nearby, and we can reminisce about such things.
Feanor thinks for a moment. I think that's a good idea, but I don't necessarily trust splitting the party up at the given moment. Maybe we can inquire as a group, talk to maybe the various people that we see, if there's anybody that's interesting. Of course, keep an eye out, but I think if we pose ourselves as travelers, we're probably not going to be stopped as likely. Clearly, we're not from here, except for perhaps Theodric. So if I were to say anything, maybe Theodric can at some point go off on his own, and perhaps Valinith, we can stay together. The three of us.
Astute as always, Feanor. All right, I trust you, my friend. So, to the goat that's falling, the tavern nearby. Shall we?
And Jess says, I think that's a good idea, but I really want to also investigate to see if Heafod is somewhere around here, if we can get a little bit more information on him too. So maybe we can, while we're at it, maybe inquire about some of the other people that are, well, around at least the front gate. Not just guards, but just people. People that look like they're from here.
It's a good idea. I like it, Jess.
I mean,
No
all
wiser words have
information
ever
is
been
good.
spoken.
All information is good information. We shouldn't leave anything up to chance if we can.
Yeah, I would agree.
still-
The laughing or the fallen goat would be a good place to be able to meet, I think. And once we've gathered what information we can maybe help kind of discuss a plan together before we do report back. I find maybe if we come back here and nods to Calum with a kind of a good sum up of all the findings that we were able to have. Hopefully we can get everybody drunk. That would be quite easy. But if that doesn't work, we need some way of coordination to be able to, I think, make this a success.
Well, maybe I could do another dance party of sorts.
If there's a distraction, perhaps I could be of help too.
I mean, you could always just belt them over your head with your skillet. That could work.
True. But this is a, these are priceless. She shakes it off for a moment, kind of almost as if, how dare you even think such a thing. I would more likely use the hilt of my sword to do it, but never mind. It's not important. And she like caresses the pots and pans that are like in her bag. They're precious to her.
The precious?
The precious.
Okay. So, to the
Well, off we
falling
go
goat in?
then. Yes.
Okay.
Indeed. And we're gonna head that way.
All right. So a question for the party. Are you heading directly to the Fallen Goat, or are you going to be going to the docks, or are you going to the front gate first?
I was thinking we should start with the falling goat to try and get some more information.
And then we can split from there. I think that's a good idea. So
Yeah.
All right. After you. And he points to you, Theodoric, as and then he nods to Caleb. We'll be back. Don't you worry. And you leave. You're able to retrace your steps fairly well. I'm going to have the two of you, Valinith and Theodoric, make perception checks for me.
Okay. Come on.
No, I would hope that I could do a good roll.
Okay.
Let's
I got a
see.
10. It's not horrible.
That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, I'll level up perception.
Mhm.
Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Come on. Well, that's a natural 1 for 6.
Valinith, you are doing all that you can to remain inconspicuous. You're looking, you're keeping, you're looking only glancing, but you're keeping your eyes straight ahead, focused on the task at hand. You don't look suspicious per se, but you look very determined. Theodoric and the rest of the party look a little bit more casually around. Theodoric, you notice that as you make your way towards the main street, again, you are about 5 blocks-ish from the main street, a little bit north-south from the main gate. You notice that these back alleys are not very populated. This would be a decent place if there was sneaking to do, would be sneaking to be had. And if anything, actually, as you begin to walk, you soon begin to approach a very loud establishment. It's only probably about 6 buildings down from where you are currently, and you can hear merriment being made. It is a sizable town, but this looks like one of the most well-built buildings here. Most of it is like clay and thatch. There's a lot of them have stone bases and foundations, but a lot of them are basically thatch roofs, Tudor homes. But this place is primarily made of a very high-quality wood and very high-quality stone. That goes on the back. You can tell that there's a fire going as there is smoke coming out of the fireplace, and what smells to be food. Amazing, delicious meats. They remind you very much of home, Theodoric.
Salted pork. I can smell it.
And you find
Even-
yourself
even to me that sounds
staring at a sign, a wobbly sign out in front of this, a grand-looking establishment. You can see that there is a goat that is falling down what looks to be the side of a cliff, and right under it you see the falling goat, basically inn and tavern. And with that, the pair of double doors lies open before you.
Okay. Well, this is the place. I like the sign.
I do too. I think it's quite comical. Haha. He takes a step in.
You,
Yeah.
The tavern.
you walk inside, and you are immediately greeted with not a dark, dank, typical tavern that you are used to seeing when you are traveling on the road. But this is light and bright. A number of windows have a good amount of sunlight cascading through. There's a warmth in here. As you are in here, you can see that there are a number of people talking. It could probably seat close to 60, 70 people tops. There is a upstairs and a bottom floor. This is an inn, but it doesn't look like it has that many rooms for people to stay, coincidentally. This is definitely more of a place of merriment and drinking. There's a large bar that's at the front, and at one of the far ends of the room, there is a great fireplace, and right next to it, a stage. As you are making your way in the stage, there is actually a minstrel who is strumming away. He's not singing anything, but he's sitting at a basically in a reclined position on like what looks to be a rocking chair, strumming away at what looks to be a lute. But there are a number of people. There's the bar that you can go to. There's kind of like some of the tables that you can go to. You could go to this minstrel wherever you want to go. The world is your oyster.
Okay, aside from the minstrel, can I do a perception check to see if there's anyone else interesting around?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make a insight check for me.
Oh, insight. Thank goodness, because that perception check did not go well. It never does.
That's what I like to hear.
Hey, that's much better. A 13 on the insight check.
Take it.
As you stand kind of in the front doorway and you look around at a number of people, you can tell that there is one man in particular that a number of people seem to be going to. Guests, workers, all kinds of people, and he's jolly. As you can tell, he's wearing this long kind of a red coat, and he's got these mutton chops, like these like huge mutton chops. This is a man from the north, and he looks to be of mixed culture. And so he is kind of has like this dirty blonde hair, so he looks to be partially of the Sons of Errol. But he also looks to be also much more Northman too.
Okay. Keeping an eye on that guy, Theodric is going to go up to the barkeep, and we've got the whole party with us, yeah?
Yeah.
And Theodric's going to go. Good morning, barkeep. Could we please have just 4 flagons of ale?
Good afternoon to you. 4 flagons of ale. We could do that. We have a number of options here, and he goes ahead and he points out 3 options. There's definitely a more expensive one. We have this. This actually comes from the north. This one here that we have has a little bit of a more hopsy flavor, a little bit bubblier if you're into that. And this one is a little bit lower quality, but you could have 3, 4, 5, and someone with your stature most likely will not get drunk from such. Some people call it piss water, but I call it merriment in the making. The name is Thorstein. It's nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Thorstein. I am Theodric. These are my traveling companions. We have Valineth of Rivendell, my dear companion. We have Feanor of the Mirkwood Realm, and his daughter Jessamine.
Yes, she doesn't drink, by the way, so
Young,
not an ale for her.
Yeah.
Jessamine, she shakes her head like she doesn't in agreement, and she actually has her head tilted down a little bit, so where her hood is kind of covering over her face. But she does make a very convincing child.
Valineth, what would you like? I'm gonna get this fancy one with the hops, was it?
Yes, this fancy one with the hops. It's kind of our middle brew. Our very high quality stuff, as I had mentioned, comes from the north, and it takes years to be able to foster a good wheat yield for this. So this is going to be a little expensive. This one is going to be our northern beer, we call it. It's going to run you 2 silver pennies if you want this. This middle one is going to be 8 copper, and this the piss water, as they call it. No, it's our house brew. That's going to run you 3 copper.
I want the fancy one, in fact.
And Valineth, what would you like?
The fancy one. The one that's 2 silver.
So and Feanor?
Piss water for me.
Okay. Well, we will have 2 of your northern beers, a piss water, and could we maybe get a flagon of milk for Jessamine?
Milk. We've got a goat out back. Does goat milk sound good for you, lass? She shakes her head in agreement.
Wonderful.
You hear a yes, please. Thank you. That's just gonna be 1 copper. That goat is a well, it's a hoot and a half. It's difficult to milk, but it's worth it. She yields pretty good. Well, I guess you'll wait and see. And he calls to the back and says, "One milk." And you can hear someone sigh deeply back there. Oh, again. And you can hear a coming from that back.
Screaming ghost.
So that should be 4 silver and 3 copper, wasn't it?
Yes.
Excellent. There we go.
I already paid my 2 silver, so
Oh, okay. Well,
don't worry about it.
I was gonna shout you, but there we go.
You could do another time. How's that sound?
Okay, it's
Good, sir.
I shouted
I
everyone.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, Valnith is gonna take his drink, and seeing the interesting minstrel, he's gonna head on over that way.
Okay.
In fact.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do so. And he is strumming, and he immediately notices you coming forward, and he stops his playing, and he takes out what looks to be a pewter tankard, and he puts it on the floor. He kind of like scoots it on the floor in front of you, and he says, "Ah, noble travelers, you look like the sort who'd have a coin or 2 to spare. If it's good luck to pay a minstrel, you know. Give me a coin and I'll sing you a song of Scatha and the Worm and the brave From the Dragon Slayer."
That sounds quite amazing. However, Valnith slams the flagon down on the table. I'll one up you, buddy. Enjoy. And hands over the drink to the dude.
I will never reject a drink, but it's gonna cost you a little bit something if you want to hear my legendary playing. The name is Geb.
Geb. Good Sir Geb. You don't seem like you're from around here.
Quite astute indeed. In fact, I am one of the woodmen. I am from the eastern settlements of Mirkwood, and, well, I've made a long way, the trek all the way south along southern Mirkwood, all the way up here. I hear that they have the absolute best of music accommodations. Someone such as yourself coming from a high elf, fine clothing. Oh, you must be from Rivendell.
Why, you are quite astute yourself, Gib. I like you, my friend. I like you, my friend. Are there any specific events that'll be happening within the day here that I should be aware of?
Events? What other event could you have than hearing me play my songs? People come from far and wide to hear the famous Geb strumming his lute, singing tales of glory days and ancient traditions, the slaying of dragons, the defeating of orcs, the burning and building of kingdoms. I could tell you all. If it's a history lesson you want in a song, I could give that to you.
You have high charisma, my friend, I can tell.
I am glad you noticed.
Yes. Well, my good sir, I am not familiar too much with that of the history. However, Valnith takes out 2 silver pennies and hands it over to him. Give me your best shot, my friend.
We have someone with deep pockets here. Okay. Listen, everybody, listen. And he takes to the tankard and he begins shaking it wildly as if to basically create a noise for everybody to pay attention to him. We have had a request for one of my greatest tales, the tale of Scatha the Worm and Fram the Dragon Slayer. Those of you who have been here for quite some time, nobody has paid quite enough to hear such a dramatic tale. So listen, everybody, far and wide, this is going to be a legend that you will ingrain in your memory, something that you will pass on to your children, to your children's children, coming from the mouth of Geb.
Valnith turns to Theodric and is like, I like this guy. I like him a lot.
Well, he Geb with the gift of gab, I suppose.
He takes out his
Alright.
lute and he begins strumming. And everyone's quiet. But he begins his first strum. Brum, and it's off key. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, it's been quite a bit of time since I played this one. This is a legendary number, and he begins strumming again. Brum, and this time the chord rings out true. He shakes his head. He says, "In a land where shadows roam, where ancient mountains stand, there lived a fearsome creature known across the distant land. Scatha the worm with scales like the night, a serpent fierce and grand. But there arose a hero with a sword sturdy in his hand. O Scatha the worm, your tale forever told in the echoes of the mountains, the song of bards of old. Fram the dragon slayer, with a heart so brave and true, he faced the mighty serpent, and the skies he did undo. From a humble soul, with fire in his eyes, he heard the stories whispered neath the starlit skies of Scatha the hidden lair, where trusted treasures gleam. He vowed to slay the serpent to fulfill his epic dream. O Scatha the worm, your tale forever told in the echoes of the mountains and the songs of bards of old. Fram the dragon slayer, with a heart so brave and true, he faced the mighty serpent and the skies he did undo." Then he continues playing. "Through the valleys deep and forests dark, Fram marched with steady might. He battled through the stormy night beneath the pale moonlight. With armor strong and courage bright, he faced the beast of lore to save his people, end the plight, and settle ancient scores. The clash was fierce, the ground did shake as the dragon met its fate. Fram with valor struck the blow, sealing Scatha's state. The mountains wept, the heavens sighed, a legend born that day. Fram the dragon slayer in the sun's eternal ray. O Scatha the worm, your tale forever told in echoes of the mountains, the song of bards of old. Fram the dragon slayer, with a heart so brave and true, he faced the mighty serpent and the skies he did undo. Now by the fireside in every hearth and hall, the tale of Scatha and Fram to generations fall. Of bravery, of sacrifice, of courage tried and true. A saga of a dragon slayer and worm of endless blue." And he raises his hand and he gives a bow. There's some scarce clapping in the crowd.
Valinus
People
shouts,
don't seem so impressed.
Valinus shouts, "Huzzah to that! I am a man of history." And has Valinus heard this history before? Or is this just
Yes.
Yes.
So you are familiar, very much.
Can
so.
I also make a history check?
Yes, you may.
Do I have to check?
No,
Or do
you
I
don't.
know?
Valid.
Yeah, I got an 11.
You do know
That's
as
okay.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that he has very much so put no thought into the song. This is not a legend. I mean, this is a legendary tale, but it is a riff off of a legendary tale. And there's people that seem confused. There are some courtesy claps, but you can tell that he is seeping in the moment. Any little bit of praise that he gets, he is soaking it in, and he looks to you, Valith, and says, "So what do you think? What do you think? You came far and wide for Geb. Tell me, how did it go? Do you feel inspired?"
Well, Geb, that is quite the nice review of a history lesson. I am a scholar myself, you know, and I have never heard that story so eloquently put.
I'm something
friend.
of a scholar myself. All I can think of is the Spider-Man meme. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I just Theodric to just turn and just be like, Prem. Didn't he end up getting murdered by dwarves he offended or something?
That's not part of a legendary hero's tale. Oh, pish posh.
It's the end of one, apparently.
Well, it seems like some people don't want to look at the brighter side of history. And he looks to you, Valineth, and he says, "Am I right, dwarves?"
Ah, yes, dwarves are a fickle folk. However, I have met quite a few great dwarves. Quite a few dwarves who are very rude as well. I think it's a dwarf on dwarf basis. If you catch my drift.
Make a persuasion check for me.
I'm not persuasive. Please. Ah! It's a natural 2 for a 2.
His face turns from a smile to a... And he pulls you over.
Yeah.
Listen, buddy, I'm trying to make a living here. And he looks over, he glances over to Theodric and like quiet enough where he's trying to remain calm. Like quiet enough to where it doesn't rouse any kind of suspicion as everybody goes back to their drinking and merriment. And he says, I don't know what you're here for, but if it's to make a fool of me, make a fool of Gib, it's not going to
Hands
happen.
off the elf.
Not today.
Oh, don't worry, my friend. We're a traveling group. Lots of personalities here. We mean no offense, my friend. And Valineth is trying to say as cheerful as possible, yet at the same time, trying to get him to like continue to drink the fancy ass beer that he bought Gib.
He smiles and he says, "Right." And he looks at you, Theodric, and he like actually looks a little bit frightened of you, Theodric. He's just like, "Right, of course. Paying customers. Thank you so much for your patronage. It'll go a long way to being able to help with the continuation of my career, of course."
Yes,
Well,
well,
Geb, you
good luck, Geb.
Go ahead.
And Theodric is going to try and find a table with Fëanor and Jessamine.
And Valineth turns and is like, "Oh, I'll meet you later, Theodric," and turns back to Geb and says, "So Geb, you seem like a well-traveled minstrel yourself. How long have you been in this town?"
No more than a year or two, I think. And you can tell like his voice has become less pompous, less animated. He's talking to you as if he's a normal person at this point, as if you have seen right through his guise, or as if he has completely dropped it, knowing that he cannot fool your eyes.
About a year. I see.
Yes,
I see.
About a year.
So, we're just passing through. However, this is the strangest town I think I've ever been in. That front gate. It's quite interesting.
Never really thought about that gate. It keeps orcs out. It keeps bandits out. It does its job. I've never once been in this town and thought, tonight might be my last. But, alas, now that I think more about it, the guards seem to be quite on their game, if you catch my drift, if you know what I'm saying, using the language of your people.
Yes, I know what you're saying, and Valineth gives him a wink and says, "Yes, it's the strangest settlement I've been. I haven't been too far west or east of the Misty Mountains. From Rivendell myself."
Good, I don't recommend it.
Oh. Why do you say so?
He looks side to side and he pulls you in a little bit closer. Yes, as I had mentioned, I am from the east. My people, made our home in the East Bight. A lovely, peaceful place. That is until about a few years ago. You see, there are rumors of a great darkness in the woods there. Especially in the south, just south of my old home. And I will say, I felt it a bit for myself. There's a foulness coming from the Hill of Sorcery.
I see. Is that why you made your way north? To escape such things?
Partially. But the people there, they've all heard my tales. They all know Gib. If I'm to become a bard, a minstrel for renowned legend, for people throughout generations to come to know, well, I must travel. I must gather more tales. I must seek my own songs, if that makes sense.
I know that I'm not there. Could we do a lore check to see if anyone knows Gab in the future?
Yeah, he's famous.
At Theodric, at your table, go ahead and make a lore check.
You got this. I believe in you.
It's a 4.
As you begin
Nice.
discussing amongst Feanor and everyone, and Feanor, he's like thinking back. He's like, I don't know if that's considered a comedy act or not, but I'm feeling disinspired.
He
I
doesn't
think
like-
I'm starting to agree with your ideas on, what was it? You said jesters, bards, and street performers, I
Yep.
believe, were your words back in Esgaroth.
Yep.
Oh god.
I don't find them funny, and that was sad. Back to you though, Valineth. He says, "There's a darkness that's growing. Actually, he again looks side to side and he pulls you in. You see, the alderman of this town, the lords first in command. He's set to leave and depart here soon. It's something that's kept under the radar, but there's not much that goes on in the Fallen Goat that I am not familiar with. He's going to be exploring the Hill of Sorcery, seeing if there's anything that need be more concerning. I feel safe here, but if news comes back of a great evil, a great threat, if I had escaped such things, I will continue to do so and make my way west. My plan is to eventually make my way into Eriador and make my all the way to the sea. I plan on visiting not only the elves of Rivendell, but also those of Linden as well. Again, you're a high elf. You know of culture, you know of music. And so, finding myself with those people, I find that I will be, well known, at least etched into the minds of those who are immortal, even if I myself in my career doesn't go off into legend. At least the people will remember me, and the tales
So-
I bring.
Valineth, being alive at this time, does Valineth know if this man made his way through Rivendell at all in the past?
Make a history check.
Oh, and with my lore check, did I know the tale of Geb?
You did not know the tale of
No.
Geb.
Okay. Wonderful.
My
That
goodness.
actually is so much better than if I'd gotten a good roll and remembered him.
It's a 10. It's not great.
The name Geb, it sounds familiar. You have no idea if it's from this individual, but it does ring a bell.
Valineth takes note, and he mentions, well, if you do pass through Rivendell, do keep in mind, the elves are a prideful people. It's best to not be too eager, my friend, but to listen and learn. As in, us elves, we are long-lived, so learn as much as you can. And don't boast, don't be prideful. They do not like that. Just as a word of advice.
Make persuasion check.
Oh my gosh. Oh
You
my
can't stop
lord.
the Geb hype. He's
I
his
guess
own
not.
hype man.
That's 13.
13.
Oh, you might be able to stop the Geb hype.
Who knows?
I will take those words into account, my esteemed fellow. Valineth, was it?
Yes, Valineth.
Yes, if I ever find my way into Rivendell, I know who to search for and I know who to look for. Valineth of Rivendell. With
Son of-
Geb. We will make history together, my friend.
Yeah.
A scholar such as yourself and a bard. It's a duo made for legend, don't you think?
And now that this has gone down, does Valineth suddenly remember because he changed the course of history?
No, you didn't.
Okay. I was just wondering if I was going to do a history-breaking moment right there.
And you're just like, I know Geb, he's my best friend.
Just suddenly.
We're
Wow.
gonna Marty McFly this, and he's gonna make Chuck Berry songs like 30 years before it's supposed to happen.
Exactly. But
Flash
Valinith
forward
is-
to your future, and Sauron's already taken over.
Yeah, right.
In the lands of Mordor, in the fires
Val-
of Mount Doom.
Yeah, Valinith will also say though, and if you're talking about sorcery, I mean there is magic in this world, of course. Being a high elf, I am very familiar with it. However, it is very dangerous indeed. I do recommend if anyone goes to investigate, those lands are cursed, and I fear for its future.
Those lands are
Be
cursed.
very wary and very careful.
Tell me more. Tell me more. And he begins pulling in to listen. Is there
In
something you know
Valinith-
that I don't?
Valinith goes into his long historic telling of the battle that happened at the end of the Second Age and Sauron killing it. He's literally gonna like just the history lesson this fool. And like the big battle that happened in the Sealed War, cutting off the ring of the finger of Sauron, and how after that happened, the enemy and all the orcs fled into southern Mirkwood to escape their demise. And then he'll go into, I fear there may be still a shadow lingering down there. Just be very careful, my friend.
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm familiar with legends of ages past. Actually, they do say that Elendil made his way all the way here. In fact, there's actually a place out in the southern reaches of the city called Elendil's Camp. I don't make anything of it. It's just a small campground for travelers that can't afford the luxurious tastes of the people of Haycombe. But, yes, I'm relatively familiar with that, but I will take that into consideration, hence why I'm making my way west, far from those terrors of the south and of the east.
That is an astute observation.
In fact,
Unless
just a few years ago, within recent memory, actually, I was just a wee lad, but the men of the East, they came and they invaded the lands of Gondor, and it was actually the people, and he points at Theodric. It is the people who built this place here in Haycombe that heard the call, and they came down and they were able to wipe out those wicked men of the East and drive them back to whence they came. We thought we were safer then, but I find the further west that I go, the farther away from terror that I flee. But also that is not very adventurous. That's not a great adventurous spirit. So I am here trying to pick up information from those that are traveling to and fro to find where the best and next course of action might be for me.
is this just like a complete mind trip for Valinith, knowing like all the history and everything that's going on, and then it's just like being in the present and it happening?
Yep.
Valinith is just like aliens. No, he's going to take it with consideration. What he does say, and Valinith says, well, to many long years, my friend Geb. And do you have any advice for me in this city? Any news? Potentially that could be helpful for a passing visitor of sorts.
Passing visitor, what do you mean? There's not much from between here and all the way into Thranduil's halls. So, with that being the case, this is your last pit stop for miles. Just you need to make sure that you're well prepared. That's the best advice that I can give you. There's miles upon miles of wilderness. Wilderland, some would say. Ha ha ha.
Valinith laughs. But I mean more about the ongoings of this town itself. See, I am a scholar myself, and I haven't made my way through here quite often. I'd like to know about the ongoings here, about from the year that you spent here, about routines, about guards. I'm a people watcher. I'm just very
Guards. And
Guards.
he begins to tap his chin a little bit. Yes, they are quite a duty-driven people. You know, Hayford, he actually selects each one of his guards personally from his retinue of warriors that he used to have from up north. They're quite strong indeed. They keep a decent eye out, and they have protected this city once or twice from the occasional attack. Goblins, Misty Mountains, they're crawling with them, of course. And because of that, the walls themselves are sturdy, near fireproof. In fact, and he goes deep into detail about just how the city has evolved. the protections that it has, the things that about the guards and what they are charged with. Many of the guards, they used to ride around on horseback, but now they just wander the streets. At night they have torches, and there's not necessarily a curfew, but do be prepared to answer a few questions. Haha, of course, if there's any problems, any of the citizens are recommended to ring one of the many bells that are throughout town. News travels fast here. I will say, if there's any disturbances, drunkenness, bar fights that spill out into the main streets, guards are upon it before you could ever even say, well, Wilderland, of course.
Ha ha ha, I see. What about, good old-fashioned revelry? I should say. I am not much for the song. I'm a little bit practiced, but I am all for the dance. Is there any excuse? Is there any way we could potentially enjoy such merriment in the streets?
You are speaking with someone who talks about merriment and who lives merriment. There is always room for merriment. You do not need a reason, I find.
I agree, but I don't necessarily want to cause too much of a stir. How much of a stir would it cause if I did such a thing?
No. The correct answer is you want to create as much of a stir as possible. You want to captivate the hearts of all of those that are around, whether it's by song, whether it's by dance, with your art, with comedy, whatever it takes. You want to capture their hearts, and the more entertaining it is, the more people's eyes turn to you, which is why I find being here at the Fallen Goat, everybody here enjoys all of my songs. I am a staple here. If I am out in the streets singing my songs, well, let's just say I would have half the town over in this neck of the woods.
Ah, and I believe in that charisma of yours, my friend. Why don't you say, tonight, I think, to friendship, indeed, to friendship, but I just feel like dancing. Would you be perhaps willing to be the bard of the show tonight?
Make a persuasion check with advantage for me.
So wait. At the very least, cause a distraction for other people to do stuff. Well, I'm glad it is with
Advantage.
it's a 10. It's a 10.
He thinks for a moment. Yes, it's been a while since I've done a street performance. What will they think of me? Stooping low from this fine establishment to street performing. But I do have a performing partner indeed, and he is a high elf, so he must know what he is doing when it comes to the show. And he mumbles to himself, if it is a street performance you want, it is a street performance you will get.
Well, I will meet you outside, near-ish the gate. Not too close, because I don't want to cause too much of a stir, but
What do you
near-ish
say? If you give me some time, let's say 9 p.m., I will make sure I have everything set up. This stage, you see, this is mine. It is portable. I can take it outside. I can put it right out front of these front doors, and we can gather crowds from inside, from outside, from everyone. Revelry will be had.
Huzzah to that, my friend!
Huzzah to that!
And now this will confirm the plan and walk over to the group.
Do we hear the huzzah from our table?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Huzzah!
Theodric, I want you to make a insight check for me.
That is a 17.
17. As Valinith and Geb are speaking and talking, you notice that as you look around, Jess looks rather uncomfortable. She's drinking her milk and she's sipping it, and she drinks a few and she notes, oh, this is pretty good. She takes a bigger swig and she immediately starts coughing and spills the kind of milk all over the table.
Oh, Jess, are you okay? I knew goat milk was kind of...
I don't know if it's me, but it's getting kind of hard to breathe. This is good and all, but I think I'm okay. And she pushes her drink away towards the center of the table, and you can tell that it's half drunk, and you can tell that her breathing is labored.
Are you sure that you're okay? You're not allergic to goat milk, are you?
No. Allergies are nothing. Us in the Hobbit, we built, especially us Bagginses, strong immunities to everything. And then after a few moments, she's able to catch her breath and she's able to slow her breathing down a little bit. She looks at you. There's kind of like watery struggle in her eyes, but she blinks. She looks exhausted.
Is there any way Valinith could check?
You are in deep conversation with Geb at this point.
Oh,
You're
I'm still over there.
currently
Okay.
in your rendition of the Battle of the Last Alliance.
There you go. Okay, all right. I didn't know I was over there.
Are you okay? Like, if you need to rest or relax, like, you can do that. Like, nobody's gonna hold it against you. Everyone gets tired sometimes.
Come
I
on,
spent
Jess.
quite
And,
a lot of our travels in the Mirkwood in the back of a wagon.
Feanor pats her on the back too and says, "Come on now, Jess. There. This is just a dream after all, of course."
Is it though? I'm starting to have my doubts. This feels incredibly realistic. Like, even the weird dreams and nightmares that the Mirkwood gave me didn't feel this realistic.
Make a persuasion check.
You got this.
That is a 16.
16.
Let's go.
Well, I have to admit you are right. This is, as they would say, this feels much more real than a decent chunk of my life. This doesn't seem like a dream, but I like to hope that it was, if that makes sense. It makes me feel better, at least.
I mean,
if we
there's
help
nothing wrong
Caleb
with
out,
it.
there's an end in sight.
True. But I have a bad feeling about this. That I don't know. There's all this talk of sorcerers and witchcraft and the weird mist. It feels connected. And I'm just gonna say, like, while I was in Woodman Town? Which one did we stay at? It was Woodman Hall.
Woodman Hall, yeah.
Yeah. While we stayed at Woodman Hall, at the Woodasild, there was a lot of history specifically about, and he leans forward, like, the House of Grimm, that involved, dealing with sorcerers that used mist to do stuff.
A decent number of evil creatures that I found from the mountains of Mirkwood. If it's between us, I saw my fair share of them that would come out of the mist. Not long ago, there were rumors of, in the future from here. And he kind of, rolls his eyes a little bit. There was talk about a fearsome beast in Mirkwood that seemed to move by mist itself. They called him a werewolf, a creature of spirits and great ferocity. It's just tales. The werewolf himself was put down long ago, even before where we are here now. But there was something magical about that creature from history. And I used to think it was nothing more than just ghost stories to keep us, Caranthiel and myself, from venturing too far south. But I can't help but feel that there's something different. Clearly, I've never experienced something like this before. Even as you had mentioned, Enchanted Waters never felt this. But the thing is, that's odd. I don't sense any immediate danger. It's almost as if we are just living life. I mean, of course we want to help Caleb out. Of course we want to help Felissa. Help them escape, and I genuinely believe by helping them escape, we're going to escape whatever this is. But there doesn't seem to be high stakes, or every time I've experienced something like this before, every time magic has been involved, it's always high stakes. doesn't just get whipped around willy-nilly, don't you think?
True, that is something that's also been in the back of my mind, is that out of all the places and times we could have been sent to, I don't know. Why here and now? I mean, for all we know, we could have been. I mean, is it just proximity? Is it? It's got to be. There's got to be some reason, because if it's just random, why weren't we sent to see the Battle of Five Armies, or the Last Alliance of Men and Elves, or any countless other historical moments? Why here, and why this sleepy little town? Admittedly, it's interesting to me. Like, these are my forebears, and I mean, gosh, this is so close to the founding of the House of Rohan itself.
And Jess, she pipes in and says, "Yeah, I don't really understand anything that's going on here. And ever since I've been in the company with you, things have been one thing after another. But something my grandma always told me is to, well, every time life presents you with a problem, you just gotta do what you think is right in the moment. What you think is going to, bring about the greater good. Whether it's for family, whether it's for whatever the case, whoever you're with, whoever you're for, whoever you've met. I do find that there is a decent amount of fate that guides us. But I also do believe that we need to grapple with that fate. We need to take it and, well, at least in the case of Calum and Thalissa, I believe in family and I believe in love. And so by helping them, I do find that we are going to, I think there's a lot at stake when it comes to helping out those who are seeking love with responsibility placed upon them, don't you think?
Theodric is going to give Jessamine a very warm smile and be like, "Your grandmother's a very wise woman, and you're completely right. Even if it doesn't feel like a phenomenally large or significant moment in history, I do believe if we stick to our own ideals that we hold dear to ourselves and do the right thing whenever we can,
And clearly,
we can only be heading in the right direction."
And clearly knowing what the future holds, at least what we think the future holds, what we've been able to live, there is no great Dark Lord Grimm that we have to worry about in the future. We at
No,
least
but
have
if we
that on our
screw
side.
this up, my potential great grandfather may not exist.
And there are the stakes we are talking about. Good job, Theodric. Now I feel much better. And he begins to sweat. If you start phasing out of sight magically, we're doing something wrong.
I mean, we don't even have that evidence yet, but it's just something for us to think about. For example, like, we may have to avoid younger Valineth. I mean, he's probably in Rivendell.
And
but, like,
clearly chunky goat's milk, too.
I mean,
He
yes,
pats,
definitely.
He pats Jess on the back. And you
I
hear
feel like we should.
coming from Outback.
I sincerely hope that's a goat. I mean, the Falling Goat Inn has to own a goat, right?
Chances are he's probably falling over, hence the screams.
So, wait, was it curdled milk because the goat had been falling over?
No, it wasn't curdled. It was quite tasty, actually. Sometimes this happened. Actually, no, that's a lie. This never really happened to me before. I just got a little bit, worked up, short of breath. This is all so new and different. Maybe that's what's happening.
Okay, well, just take it easy. Let us know if anything else happens and you need any help.
Of course. I've got a few things, there are a couple remedies in my mind, just in case I have another coughing fit. A couple remedies. I think I have some stuff. Thank goodness, your horse might be gone. Baradorok might be gone, but I still have all of my bits and bobs in here to be able to help if anyone needs anything for healing.
Yes, there's the other thing, the I've been trying not to focus on.
Oh, sorry.
Why were we brought here, but not our mounts? I imagine that Nympharion would kind of get us a few raised eyebrows, but nothing that would alarm the people here, I assume. Where
Well,
are our
the White
horses?
Heart Stag are very rare in Mirkwood, but I don't know what their legend is to the Northmen. But they are in decent, at least their ancestors are in decently close proximity. Maybe they hunted the White Stag. Between us, I'm more concerned about Baradarok. I'm less concerned about Nim. Nim, well, he's got this natural instinct. He knows how to hide. He knows how to stay away from sight. I'm hoping that that's the case, but Baradarok is loyal. He's always by your side. I've never seen him unless torn apart. Not here.
Yes, well, I'm hoping that wherever he is, then perhaps he's with Nympharion and they can stick together.
And there's the bright side. Hopefully you're right. But again, we have a task at hand, and well, I believe we are not really working towards that. So what should our next plan of action be after some comedy, attempted comedy? Hopefully Valinith is able to squeeze a little something out of, what was his name, Geb?
Geb.
Something weird.
The Great Geb. Therein lies the rub. I can't really do the next part of the plan, but this is where you or Valinith could come in handy.
Yes.
Our dear fellow over there with the red clothing and the mutton chops. He seems rather popular, and everyone does seem to be quite eager to have a chat with him. Can you hear anything interesting?
He looks over, and he says, "Yeah, I've been noticing him too. He's jovial, from what I can tell, but it doesn't seem like necessarily people are," and he looks closer, perhaps lining up to talk to him more than like he wants to talk to everyone. But he might be someone good to ask. He seems to be someone at least that's willing to talk, that's full of knowledge to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's around this time that Valinith comes back and joins the group.
Valinith.
Hello, friends.
How
How has the conversation been going? With Geb?
Yes.
He is
Geb.
a misunderstood man, I should say. I think deep down he just wants to be an entertainer. However, I did get some useful information and a potential addition to a plan for tonight.
Oh,
Yes.
go on.
Yes, please,
So-
go on.
So, Jess, you've never experienced such a thing, but Theodric, you know what a marvelous dancer I am, right? Do
Indeed.
you remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I can
absolutely
scarcely
100% believe you are a marvelous dancer.
Oh yes, it's quite the enthralling sight, my friend.
Well, tonight I think we found a way in to potentially, hopefully, and he whispers, get some guards drunk in merriment. So at 9 p.m. sharp tonight, Geb and I will be putting on a sort of escapade, more of an enthralling performance or party of sorts. I do not know, but maybe if we.
Did you say party? And Jess, she pipes up and she says, "Oh, there's so much that we could do with a party. Distractions."
Yes, distractions indeed. I was thinking that the barge was mentioned. Maybe we could get some of that fine wine supplied for such an event, and maybe invite everyone in town. At the very least, get some of the guards drunk, but more so, get the entire town drunk in revelry. And maybe, perchance, in the
entire
revelry.
Town drunk in revelry. And
Well,
she looks.
not the.
Sounds like a party at the Shire.
Well, Jess,
We may
this
have
is
to
where
go
you
there
come.
eventually. That sounds like a lot of fun.
That's true. That is
In
very
fact,
true.
actually, there's a big party tree, and we always decorate it for everybody's birthday. Last time that I celebrated my birthday, she begins to go into this whole story about how half the Shire showed up, and pretty much everybody that she wanted to. And she's like, there were all kinds of decorations. As a Hobbit, when there's a party for us that's being thrown for us, we're in charge of all of the food, we're in charge of the decorations and everything, and that's the best gift of all. And she begins talking about the party planning, essentially.
Nice.
Well, this is spectacular to hear about, Jessamine. Perhaps another time. You can tell us all about it a little bit later when Caelim's freedom isn't on the line.
True,
For
but
now, we
perhaps
do
something
need
that
to
could be helpful, maybe as we make our way out and about, we can spread word of this party.
I mean,
That's
yes,
a
that could
astute
definitely.
idea.
Pretty
Now,
good at
I
that.
was thinking, Valineth, is there any sort of medicinal herbs that you have or know of that we could use to maybe spike some of this wine?
Make a medicine check for me, Valineth.
I love it. Just drug in the town. Oh, the
Not the whole town. I'm thinking of just
Yeah,
the gate
yeah.
guards.
yeah. Medicine, you said? Well, that will be a 22.
Valineth, you have thought of a number of things, but the only things that really come to your mind are poison. And so unless you want to kill people, that might not be a problem. However, there's one person that does come to mind that could be of use.
Mhm.
It is a elf by the name of Rodwin.
Yeah,
that you have met
Rodwin.
before.
Well, maybe Rodwin could know of such things. At the very least, she seemed very friendly, and she seemed like she is all for talking to people, even if she doesn't know anything of the sorts. I think she'd be a good source in spreading such a word.
Yes.
Feanor, Feanor he leans back and says, well, anybody that serves that closely to King Thranduil would have secrets about, herbs and... King Thranduil wants people that are around him that are knowledgeable, that know everything about anything. So, I think Rodwin might be a good person to maybe discuss.
Yes.
this.
We don't
And
need
speaking-
anything too heavy, just something to help the alcohol along a little bit. Because if these guards are as dutiful and well trained as Caelim believes they are, they may not want to drink too much while they're on watch. So maybe just something to give that alcohol a little bit of a kick.
Well, and maybe too, I mean, the whole point in this distraction, yes, I think partially to get maybe to perchance enjoy some revelry, but as well, maybe get some of these guards drunk, but also maybe just, even for a split second, an opportunity to, in that gate tower, get that gate open.
Open it.
Of sorts.
Exactly.
Even if it's a split second. I mean, I'm obviously going to be performing, so it can't be me.
Yes, well, basically, I was thinking I somehow spike maybe some of these drinks with some herbs that will help sleep along. I introduce myself to the gate guards who are in charge of opening and closing it. Share some battle stories, have some drinks. They pass out. I open the gate. Caelim and his lovely lady escape. I close the gate so goblins can't get in and nibble on our toes. And then I drink some more and pass out, so I'm a believable, so I'm not the immediate suspect for when the gate guards awaken.
Yes, we know what happens when we leave our toes exposed to goblins. They become butt scratchers.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think this sounds like a good plan, but there's a lot that needs to go into it first. We only have a few hours to procure such things. Speaking of which, Valineth looks over at the gentleman in red. That fellow seems to be kind of the hoot of the party, as they should say. Maybe he's a good person to spread the word. of
Yes.
such things.
Maybe we could ask him if he wants to, if you like the idea of this revelry thing you've got going on with Geb.
Yes. Sounds like a great idea. And Valineth stands right up and trudges right on over to him.
And as you do so, without a second thought, the people that he is talking to, he meets your eyes, Valineth, and he pushes them aside and says, now what do we have here? I've been keeping my eye on you since you've walked right in. Foreigners I have never seen. The name is Uldor. I am the runner of this fine establishment of the Fallen Goat.
Why, my name is Valineth from Rivendell. It is quite an honor to be in such things. I was just talking to good old Geb over there, and he seems like quite the hoot and a half, that's for sure.
Huh. Well, welcome, welcome. First of all, you seem like good folk. Well, if you're here for the market, we have a very good market. And no doubt, you will find quite a good trinkets. We have a number of people that go in and out of here. But if you want to sit down and have a drink with me, oh, looks like you already have a drink. And he invites all of you to sit around at the table like that's around him. Well, you can rest here a while. The fallen goat is all yours for your enjoyment, for your revelry. Talking about revelry. Have you come from the south? Any word on the master's return? I've heard he's on the road for some time.
Oh, he's out of town. I did not know he was out of town.
Yes.
Of course. Anybody who knows anything about Heophod he's made his way down south. And actually, just between us, and he looks side to side, just between us, I hear he is going down south to the lands of Rohan to inquire with the sons of Errol, looking for a lass to, hitch Grim up with, his son. Well, he is a rabble-rouser. He finds himself in quite a lot of trouble around here oftentimes, but I do find he has just come of age, just to the point where, his father's starting to think about retiring or perhaps growing family bonds. But he is gone. And, well, with that, the guard is extra on guard, if you know what I'm saying, to keep an eye out for Grim. Speaking of which, have you seen Grim? Do you know who Grim is?
No, I'm afraid Grim? I mean, obviously he's the alderman's son. But, I mean, weren't we all rebel rousers when we were younger? I mean, I can't say much, but...
I remember when I was young, yes, I was always chasing tail one way or another, whether it was horse tail or lady tail. Sorry, there's children present. That's quite inappropriate. I'm sorry. We have fine goat's milk for you if you would like that. Anyways,
Yeah.
no, yes, of course. But you have not met him. Make a deception check with advantage.
Wait. Okay, how do
He's
I add
deceptive.
How do I add the deception without? Is it right click? Right click. There we go. Please. 18. Oh.
Yo, let's go. Theodric coming in clutch.
Clearly you're not from around here. It's very, evident on your faces, but new faces are always great. They liven a place such as the Fallen Goat up quite a bit, which is why I'm interested to talk to you. Tell me, why are you here?
Well, I myself am from Rohan. My name is Theodric. I'm sorry that I was so late to introduce myself.
A son of Errol himself, Theodric. Strong name. That originates from the north.
Well, don't all of us. Even if we call ourselves the men of Rohan, we are still northerners at heart.
Well, you see, I am of mixed cultures, mixed blood. I am a second generation of the Rohirrim, but I'm very proud of it. I might say it gives. Well, I feel like I live in two worlds which I can duck in and out of however I please, whatever my pleasure, and comes in use when it comes to ingratiating myself with others of both cultures. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Indeed.
It is a fine life. And
that brings us back to our question. What brings you to Haycombe?
well, right now we're just traveling. I met Valineth and Fëanor and his daughter Jessamine here on the road. And the roads are dangerous for lone travelers, as any of us can say. Goblins, orcs, trolls, who knows what's out there. But we found ourselves facing one or two skirmishes together, and we decided we worked well together. So we just traveled hither and thither. Safety in numbers and everything.
And we've heard that this fine town itself is the place to go, at least when it comes to what's east of the Misty Mountains, Valneth pipes in. In fact, it's been a long time since I've really enjoyed revelry of sorts, and this is quite the fine establishment.
Ah, so you have noticed. In fact, I am a brewer myself. If you go speak over there to Thorstein. He's my assistant. Down beneath, actually, the mountains, the one good thing about being here in the Misty Mountains, they have the perfect temperatures for distilling alcohol. In fact, I have my own blend. And if you want, I can give you a discount. It normally goes for 3 copper, but if you get on my right side, I could give that to you for 1 copper.
Well, that's actually...
The people rave about it.
That is quite generous, but actually tonight, we're going to be having some sort of a party outside close to the main gate. It's been a while since I've enjoyed such things. Would you be willing to potentially spread the word of such things? Maybe you could even provide the alcohol.
What
It's
time
sure to
are
make
you
you some
thinking of
coin.
such a party, a celebration?
9 p.m. is when Geb and I have decided to do so. I mean,
Geb?
there's no better time like the present to celebrate life. You know, L'chaim, as they say.
L'chaim indeed. I normally would advise against that, as there's quite a bit of traffic that goes to and from, but you do know at 7 p.m. those gates close. And it takes gotta wait till morning in order to make your way back there. Make your way back through the city. You know, goblins are prowling at night. But the more merriment, the more laughter, the more joy we have, those goblins will be running from the hills as they see our strength in numbers. Or perhaps it will invite the shadow in all the more, but there is a good guard out, and I see why not. In fact, we could have it right out front of my establishment if that tickles your fancy.
Sounds like a plan to me. It should make you some coin as well. I mean, we can enjoy the revelry, but we can also enjoy the profit as well.
He strokes his beard. Ah, not a bad idea. You are a businessman as well. Enterprisers. I like it. Yes.
Well, would you happen to know the best way to spread the word, or would you happen to know the best way to attract as many people as possible? I would really enjoy with the whole town if we can.
Don't you worry, leave it to me. In no time, this entire town will know of what is about to happen tonight. One of the greatest celebrations that Haycombe has ever known.
Are we starting just like a freaking tradition or something?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
That's-
All right.
And
May I ask? So we are celebrating life.
Indeed.
Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about during the celebration? Clearly, we're going to have music. We're going to have drinking. I can provide drinks. I can provide beer, whatever the case. But the people need to know.
Yeah.
What are we celebrating?
We're celebrating. Do you have an idea, Theodric?
I like to think that we'll just celebrate living, surviving.
Yep.
Things are tough
Living
these days, and having
and hope
hope.
Yeah.
That sounds
for a
good.
better future, right? I mean, everyone here is spreading, and this town is thriving. And I mean, when evil is near, it's easy to forget. That
Yes.
hope is what pushes everyone forward.
Yes, indeed. Better words have never been spoken in this establishment. Everybody! And he stands up and he calls, "Party tonight! Out in front of the Falling Goat! We are going to have entertainment! We are going to have revelry! And we're going to have beer!" And he raises his tankard, and as he does so, all of it goes out and spilling all over the table, all over everyone. Oh! There'll be more where that comes from. Tonight,
Daedric
9 p.m.
raised his blanket as well. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Is that Elvish?
Oh yes, yes,
I guess.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! And yeah, I guess that's that. But we know we gathered that the Lord's gone.
Yep.
Guards are on watch.
Extra vigilant.
The gate will be closed. However, that's not necessarily a problem if we just intend to open it, right? Well, Theodric, how do you intend on getting close to these guards?
I think we're still with what's his face first, but
Oh, are we?
yeah, we didn't say that we left.
Whoops.
It's fine.
I assumed. Obviously, Valineth wouldn't say such
Yeah.
things.
I
the
just wanted to
earshot.
ask,
This man's
what
pretty
was his
sloshed, too.
what was his name? Angle?
Aldor.
Aldor. Okay. I just want to ask Aldor, like, where these markets he was talking about are.
Markets. Oh yes, the markets. The markets. They're just a little ways off up the road. Actually, there's a big shipment that came down. We're going to be sending them to the north of the town earlier. But then there are a number of people before they leave tonight. A good shipments of alcohol, fish, meats, goods, fine jewelry items, big items indeed. For well, we'll say, and he nods to Feanor. Those of the Woodland Realms liking. Well, actually, Rodwin is out there right now. I don't know if you know Rodwin. She's an emissary of King Thranduil, and she's currently, well, from what I can tell, and he looks out the window, looking over some of the goods for sale. Perhaps there's something that might catch your eye out in that direction by the docks, and you can, as you look out the window, you can literally see right across the main street, probably a solid 50 feet away, there is these docks with probably like this running river, and like there's a number of people that are gathered about.
Spectacular. Thank you, my friend. Our stores are running a little low from our traveling all the way from Mirkwood. So,
Huzzah!
huzzah.
Huzzah!
And we shall see you at 9 p.m. tonight.
9 p.m. Not a moment later, revelry will begin and we will party the night away. This will be written about in legends. You heard that, Geb? And Geb's like, huzzah!
And with that, Theodric is going to slip out of the tavern. He's finished his beer and put it down.
That, or just Theodric?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What was
we're
the
welcome to do
intention?
Okay, everybody.
Yeah, good.
Well,
yeah.
We want to not be overheard and maybe
Yeah. True.
see about getting that heavy wine from the docks.
Yes.
And talking to,
Yes.
what was her name?
Rodwin.
Rodwin.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool.
So
Yeah, we'll do that then.
yeah.
Head on out. Ian Valineth will be like, so Theodric, how do you intend on getting in with these guards?
Well, I am going to do
Keep
what
talking.
I do best and make a fool of myself while getting drunk. Or at least pretending to be drunk. I'm going to pretend to be... I'm going to wait for this revelry to start up a bit. And, well, a sloshed warrior enjoying the peace of a town and not the harshness of a road. Well, nobody's going to be too surprised if he lets loose and gets a little bit drunk. And
That's just true.
I do have to say, we men do like to boast about our battle scars and our kill counts. And
It's astute. I can't say the same for myself, but
well, I find that you elves are a bit more nuanced and a bit more and I look over at Feanor and I go, usually a bit more proper.
yes. Well, we
I
can't
could
all
be
be.
proper if I want to.
Your idea of proper was that you wore a shirt with sleeves, I believe, for that dance party with Jalen.
It was getting a little bit chilly, wasn't it?
But yes, so I'll just act the part of the
King
weary
Bard
warrior finally
thought that
allowed.
I looked spectacular. And we won the competition after all.
I know, I know. I mean, forget about it. I didn't mean anything by it. But yes, I'll share some drinks with them. Do a little bit of boasting. They'll feel the need to boast back. More drinks. I'm hopefully going to outlast them, or maybe I'll take Feanor with me. Wait
That's
until
a good idea.
they're well drunk and maybe unconscious. Hopefully unconscious. I open the gate. Caleb and what's her name again? I've just forgotten.
Thelissa.
Broadwin.
Thalissa.
Oh, Thalissa.
And Thalissa escape. I close the gate again, get drunk, pass out. You guys wrap up your revelry. The next morning, the guards and I all wake up drunk. Oh no, we drank so much. We talked so much. Thank God nothing happened. And then we all go on our way. Roll
Jess, what do you intend to do during this?
Well, if it's spreading word, then I would like to do that. But I would also like to see if, we could establish a plan B. And so while we're at the front gate, I want to kind of see if there's any other ways outside of just opening the gate that we could maybe take advantage of the distraction.
Fair.
Yeah,
we can't
dude.
bet everything on my plan.
Okay. Well, I think we should, I guess, see Rodwin first. She's right outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has basically like this ledger that she's going through, and she has a number of other there's probably 3 other elves with her, and they're beginning to take basically these giant crates and load them onto this giant wagon. As she begins counting off as you approach, she turns to you and says, "Oh, there's my favorite travelers from all over Middle Earth." And she rolls up her scroll and says, "I knew you would find me. I know I said I would be in the Fallen Goat, but I have business to attend to, you see. King Thranduil is expecting his delivery, within a couple of weeks."
Spectacular. Business is what brought us here.
Wonderful. What could I do you for?
Our stores are a little bit low from all of our travel.
Oh,
And the proprietor of the Falling Goat Inn sent us your way.
Ah, you met Elder. He's
Yes. He's a character.
He's a character. He's very kind, very. He didn't tell you the story about when he stubbed his toe as a child, right?
No.
Oh, good. Don't let him. He'll go on for what's even an eternity for the age of an elf.
Oh, yes, I know the feeling. And Theodric just shoots a look at Valinus quickly. And anyway, I am hoping to get some alcohol, something strong, hopefully. It's been a while since we could relax.
Well, this is the place to do it. In fact, there's actually a shipment that came in from up north of a very, very fine brew here. And she goes over and says, "Excuse me, sir." And she says, "Eric." Yes, Eric. Would you be so kind as to show your stores to my companions? This is Valineth, Theodric, Feanor, and Jess. They all come from all over Middle-earth, and they are here seeking alcohol. Is that right?
I mean, yes, for a start, certainly.
Well, yes. Show them the good stuff. They are friends of mine, and by friends of mine, they're also friends of King Thranduil. In fact, Feanor here is son of a very good partner of mine, and Feanor just shrinks. Yeah.
Oh, don't mind him. He's shy.
Eric, he says, right away, Lady Rodwin. And he comes over and he basically sets down basically this huge crate, which takes 2 people to help him move. And he takes a crowbar and he opens it and cracks it open. You can see these very, very fine bottles. You can tell that the quality is good because these are brand new, hand-blown bottles, not reused or recycled in any way. There's not really a label, but you can tell that the what small label is on there is written in very, very fine woodman script. And none of you are familiar with this wine per se, but it looks very expensive.
Spectacular. That does look good. How much is it per bottle?
Per bottle? How much do we pay for it? Of course you'll be giving them King Thranduil's discount, right? And Eric shakes. Well, what we paid for it is per bottle. That would be 8 silver pennies per bottle.
Okay. And with King Thranduil's discount, was that 8 silver pennies?
Yes,
or?
per bottle.
Okay.
Normally this goes for around 15 silver pennies per bottle.
Okay. Well.
Oh, trust me, you have my word. You won't find a finer wine west of Mirkwood.
Can I question? The black warg pelt I took from ages ago. What quality was that again? It wasn't good, was it?
The black warg, like the one that you killed ages ago, like 2
Two-
weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. It's pretty good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, decent quality.
Okay. So how about 6 silver pennies, and I will give you this fabulous black warg pelt that I took 3 days ago. It was a spectacular battle, but it's surprisingly soft for such a foul creature's pelt, honestly.
3 days ago. Where did you find this? Wilderland?
Oh,
Eriador?
yes. Yes, further down in Wilderland.
Oh. And you can tell that she makes a mental note. Well, this looks fine. King Thranduil isn't much for collecting pelts outside of deer, bears, but no, for my personal collection. Perhaps I could buy this from you for 20 silver? And this is Rodwin talking.
I mean, yes, that's incredibly generous of you, and I would be glad to.
Well, it seems you don't understand what you have there. Wargs, they're rare, far and few in between. In fact, a warg hasn't been seen for near 50 years. In Wilderland.
Yes, this one was particularly cunning. I guess that's probably why they haven't been seen. Let's hope that he's one of the last.
But he will adorn my wall. Or my floor.
Well, I mean, there's enough of him that you could probably make a decent coat.
Indeed, but you know, if you've ever been to the Mirkwood, it's quite humid. Not a lot of opportunities to get nice and cold, especially in our very, very warm halls that King Thranduil
That is
keeps.
actually a very good point. But yes, certainly 12 silver sounds phenomenal.
20 silver.
Oh, 20. I'm so tired.
No worries. I will go ahead and I will take this off of your hands. And she takes the warg pelt and she looks deep into its eye holes and says, "Yes, fascinating. Fascinating indeed." And she begins examining it. Was there anything else that I could help you with?
Well, aside from the spectacular alcohol, I do have trouble sleeping sometimes. And while Valineth is a spectacular medic, his mastery in herbology and treatments in medicine tend to lean
They're
towards
more for healing.
packaging wounds and
Yeah.
injuries more than helping sleep. So I was wondering if you had anything that could help me sleep.
Sleep. Perhaps. And she thinks about it. There are a number of things that you can find within Mirkwood, but I find that they're quite difficult to come across. There is a herb. It's found deep within Mirkwood. It's called Shadowthorn. If you grind it down into a powder, us elves, we don't sleep. There are many of us who are scarred by what we see and sometimes wish to escape for some time. If that is what you're talking about, we use it to cure insomnia. If you grind this down and then mix it with a little bit of alcohol, you will find that just a single sip of this will have someone out cold for hours. Nothing but darkness. From just a single sip. Of course, it's not going to poison or harm anybody. But this is
Some of that. I've got some of it.
but hopefully that would help you. If you plan on having a full night of sleep, that might be helpful.
Yes, that actually does sound good. How much do you
FYI,
have?
it will be very difficult to stir someone who has succumbed to such a thing. It is perhaps not the best course of action to use it nightly, as it's difficult to, especially if you're on the road, get up and move.
Yes, generally, I'm just going to be using it for when we are in the safety of a town and walls. But
Well, good. It is not great for contemplation as us elves do when we sleep, but it does help rejuvenate the body and find great rest.
how much do you have, Valineth?
I have 2 uses of it. I'm assuming I
Okay.
don't know how much it would take to
Probably just
spread
use-
among whoever.
So basically, it would be because it's just a tiny, tiny little bit. So what you could do is you could grind it down. This is a buff game. What you could do is you could grind it down, like 1 use of Shadowthorn, and it would probably be enough for like 8 or 9 bottles if you had enough.
Cool.
Oh.
Well, there you go. We're
Okay.
good.
Well, I don't need it like too much of it because I don't want to get dependent on anything. But
Indeed.
if maybe enough for 1 or 2 nights would be good.
Unfortunately, we don't have any of this on us. We don't carry this with us, as we are travelers. But she's trying to think. Perhaps if you looked at the market, they could have some. But again, it's quite rare to come by. Sorry, can't be of any help.
No, you've been of plenty help.
Good, good.
Also,
And
if you want to sell any of your goods and wares, we are having a party tonight at 9 p.m. outside the tavern.
Party? Frivolity?
Yes, a party.
What's
frivolity
the
for hope.
occasion of the celebration?
survival.
Hope and life. Yes.
Hope, life, and survival. All things that each one of us encountered here in our daily lives out here in Middle-earth. These are good things. We don't have enough time for partying. Indeed,
Yes,
we shall do
don't-
such a thing. In fact, you can consider me a welcome guest.
Of course we do.
Great,
That
great,
goes without
great.
saying. But yes, I'll definitely grab a bottle of that delicious-looking alcohol.
Well, that's it. Give it to the boy. And he takes out a. Okay, make sure you pick the best vintage. And he pulls out a one. It's from like 40 years ago, and he examines it. He almost looks at Rodwood. Will this be enough, lady? And she's like, yes, that'll do just fine. As you exchange 8 silver for 1.
There we
Good.
go. Spectacular. I'm going to enjoy this. It's been a while since any of us have really relaxed and let loose.
Good, good. Northmen's
Words-
spirits are quite strong, so do be careful.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Frondwin, and we look forward to seeing you later on tonight.
Indeed. I'm gonna have Valineth, while this conversation is going on, I'm gonna have you make an investigation check for me.
Investigation. All right, I can do that. I'm pretty good at
Super
that.
sleuthing again.
Super sleep.
Our
I got
very own-
18.
18.
Our very own
18?
pointy-eared Sherlock Holmes.
During this,
I try to be.
During this conversation, you add your 2 cents here, but you spend your time investigating the docks, specifically the river. One thing that is brought immediately to your attention is the river is much more vibrant, it's fuller, and the current is much swifter than what you saw. If you remember back when you were in the room, it was almost stagnant in parts until it started falling down kind of into the hills. That is not so much the case here. It seems to be very much a big running stream. It is a river. It is no longer a stream at this point. And additionally with that, you can tell that the boats that are used in this go to and from each side. So you can tell that this is the one dock that's between the 2 parts of the river, and the other one is actually slightly downstream of the other, as they more kind of drift the boats down. And you can tell there's a bridge that's not too far basically north, but it's a small footbridge. And you have no idea why they haven't built a bigger, larger bridge, but they use barge in order to do back and forth. You don't know if it's just the Misty Mountains have raging rivers that destroy things. You have no idea. That destroy bridges. You have no idea. But this is what they have. However, as you follow the river down all the way to kind of where the front gate is, the front gate is probably about 150 feet away from where you currently are standing, almost 200 feet away. You see and you examine with your elf eyes the palisade that it goes under, this river goes through. So where the river meets this wall, so essentially you have these two towers, the north tower and the south tower, and then like this gatehouse, and it's all made of complete stone. However, the palisades on either side are made of this fire-resistant wood. Basically, there's along the entire bottom, there's these wooden slats that are spaced out just enough to where it lets water pass through easily, but the average person wouldn't be able to fit through. Maybe Jess could fit through these slats, but you could tell that the reason that this is put in there, that it's placed there, is so nobody falls downstream if they fall off the barge, or any of the goods don't either in these crates. It's a safety measure from what you can tell for people not to go basically downstream into the Anduin. However, you do see also that along the banks, outside of here, this basically dips right down into the water. Along the banks, you can tell that there is this stone wall that is built to fortify, and about every 15-ish, 20-ish feet, there are torches that line this wall. And you can tell that they are replaced every single night, as in fact they are being replaced at the current moment. You can tell one of the guards is there replacing these torches. They're wooden torches that basically there's these holes at the top of, spaced out in the top of this wall that they basically plop in there. And as you look down further at the gate, this really is piquing your interest. You can tell that maybe perhaps one of those slats is cracked or broken.
Okay, Valnith takes note of such things, and he lets the conversation come to a conclusion, a natural end.
So where are you off to next? I will say around this point, it's about 4 p.m.
Okay. I'm thinking we'll want to take a look at, because we were just looking at the entrance of where the river goes, right?
Correct. So there's this basically this docks and the river that goes from east to west, or west to east.
I'm thinking we want to have a look at the main gate, and specifically just have a look at that, because
Well, as they're traveling to, Valnith will say that information and say, in case maybe the main gate fails somehow to get through, there may be an opportunity. Again, I know they said that's a last course. However, it seems like there is a crack, and with enough force, they could slip through that little part as well. Maybe potentially even replacing one of the torches to keep it less lit at some point, I don't know.
Something to keep in mind. That's a good plan B. We'll, if plan A fails, we may have to break the way through, let Calum and his lady love get through there. Maybe go with Fainal's idea of pretending to have bought his horse, and we'll just walk out the front gate at first light, meet back up with Calum, and let them be on their way.
It's a good idea. Fortunately, it looks like if things do go awry, as you start to make your way towards the front gate, essentially from the front gate, it's probably about from the north, basically at the base of the north tower, there's like 10 feet, and then it's the river. And so it would be decently easy to just basically like sprint, jump into the water, and attempt to break whatever that is and go downstream. If things do go wrong.
And how's the front gate look?
Make an investigation check. Both you, Valnith, and Dimitri.
Sweet.
Don't fail me. I'm
15?
getting good rolls when they matter. I got an 18.
That's pretty good.
Like I said, I'm getting good rolls when they matter for once.
That's what I like to hear. New leaf for Theodric.
The two of you look at this main gate. I technically all of you do, but the two of you really investigate this main gate. And you both notice immediately that the North Tower does indeed play host to a large mechanism. It's kind of almost like this. It's got multiple levers, but from what you can tell, one or two people can probably operate the mechanism, as it were. And then there are two large wooden doors. As far as the gate is concerned, these are pretty large. They lead eastward, kind of like a southeastward. It down into the mountains, into actually a decently familiar path that you guys have climbed previously. And you also notice that directly west of the North Tower, there is a barracks. So there's about 20 feet between the South Tower and this barracks. And you stay there for a little while, and you notice that this barracks itself plays host to anywhere between 6 to 8 guards at any given time. Just inside the barracks itself, not necessarily on patrol. You can tell that with people going in and out, switching the guard. This is something that you see. Valinith, you also note that there are ropes that come out of the top and the bottom of each of the towers. You can tell that these are the pulley systems that are basically operate the gears themselves operate. And so these ropes are what pull it shut and close them, because they can essentially be moved from the other side. And actually, if you hold them tight, hold the mechanism tight, you can either lock the gates or you can hold them open. Basically, just keeping it taut for whatever the case. It basically can act as like a barrier, or if something's trying to pry the gates closed or something, that would be a way to keep it open. Yeah, and also Theodric, as you investigate, you notice that the palisade walls are coated in this dark lacquer, to which actually Feanor says that this is something that Rowanhold has. This is dwarven made, basically fireproofing for the palisades. And the palisades themselves have about a 6-foot corridor on top. It's essentially a thick wall that have these guards that are walking to and from along the tops of the walls. But also, Theodric, one thing that you notice is you're taking a look at the patrols. So consistently within, I would say you probably spend about an hour and a half here investigating, just inconspicuously looking. You notice that there are always 2 men manning the top of the gatehouse, always, at all times. They're not necessarily on the top of the towers, but mostly looking basically in the central tower, basically central walkway over the gate. And the vast majority of the time, probably 3/4 of the time, they're looking out over the far edge, not looking at the inside.
Okay.
With that being the case, you see that there are also guards stationed on the palisade about 50 feet apart. And you notice the same thing. They are looking mostly outwards and not so much inwards. However, you do see that the guards that walk through this area, there are guards that walk, they're always in pairs. And they come around and they have the exact same kind of... they have the exact same walking motion. In fact...
Oh, okay.
We'll use Feanor here. This is kind of what we're looking at as far as the main gate goes. And so right here's the docks. Right here is going to be your laughing goat. Or not laughing goat, fallen goat. And as you walk down in this direction, this is going to be your barracks, this is going to be your river, and then there's this palisade. You notice that the 2 guards at the top are always within these towers and they're looking outwards. The guards that are in here are stationed about 50 feet apart, and as the guards walk, they walk in pairs, and you notice they go in one direction. This way, then they go right, and then they go down in this direction and eventually disappear, to which there's a roundabout way for them to come out here. But they're in pairs. They never walk counterclockwise. They're always walking clockwise.
Okay. Gosh.
Well, This is good to know, and this is good information to relay.
Yes.
Oh,
So
also
that-
one thing that you notice, Valinith, as you look at the ropes, they could be cut.
Would that close
And
it,
cutting the
or-
ropes, would that close or open?
It would basically allow you to be able to manipulate the gates physically however you wanted. So, like, if you cut the ropes, someone on top of the gates couldn't hold the gate shut. However, if you cut the
Gotcha.
ropes, you would physically have to pry the gate doors open.
Okay, is the mechanism for the gate up top, or is it?
It's up top, and so you will also.
Oh,
One thing that you notice as well is that there are two entryways to the north and south tower. On top of the north tower is going to be the mechanism, and on top of the south tower there looks to be a bell, a warning bell, just in case of attack.
okay. And up. That's where the two guards are, right?
Yes, so they're going to be in the, kind of this little corridor right in the center.
Okay. Okay, this is
Good information that we share amongst each other.
actually,
amongst-
this isn't as bad as I thought it was.
No, I mean, we just have to do it at the right time, right?
Right?
Even
I thought it was going to be difficult hiding the two unconscious guards from the patrols down there, but if they're both up top,
There are also guards that are stationed up on top of the palisade too.
oh, okay. How many? Sorry.
There's essentially two guards here, a guard here, and about every 50 feet there's another guard.
Okay.
So really 4 guards to worry about, really, in the area.
Depending on if they're like super intent on just looking out over outside, though,
Mhm.
that might it might not. It's, as long as I don't make too much noise. Oh, I really don't want this to evolve into any combat.
And I don't think it will if you just go with the intention of just revelry, like getting...
Yeah, I'm
Getting
just worried
alcohol.
that once I start opening the gate,
Mhm.
they're all gonna look at me and be like, "Get him."
Well, they're going to be passed out. At least the ones who will notice will be passed out. You might have a couple moments to act, especially if it's up and out of the way, you know? To
Yeah.
be able to, like, also be, like, passed out looking.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Here's what I'm thinking, right?
Mhm.
Feel free to chime in with your own thoughts and stuff, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make my arrow visible. So my thought is, like, 9 o'clock starts, the revelry's happening with you and Geb over here outside
Mhm.
the goat.
Mhm.
Theodric is going to wander in here, or actually probably up here with the bell, and start smooth talking the guards and getting them drunk.
Mhm.
Do we have on this map where Calum is staying and hiding right now, or is that further in?
It's basically in this area.
Okay.
So it was basically where you guys eventually met him as you walked up here, and there's a alleyway that goes down here.
Okay, so
Basically, the stables
that's
are
actually
down
pretty
where
close by.
Valinith's face is.
Okay, that's still very useful. Okay, so I'm thinking what we do is we're gonna have, obviously you're gonna be here.
Mhm.
We have probably, I'll say we have either Feanor or Jessamine stay
Mhm.
with Calum and keep an eye on this corner, and I'll give a thumbs up from here. We'll maybe have Feanor here to relay that thumbs up to you to tell Jessamine that it's safe for Calum and his lady to go.
Mhm. Between a guard shift, it has to be
Between
like
a
the
guard
roving
shift,
guards.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And that'll give them the chance to, like, take the opportunity.
Well,
I guess.
in all the commotion too, even with a horse, I
Yeah.
feel like it should be decently easy for them to move through the crowd in the area. So as far as the party goes, I'm gonna broadcast my mouse too.
Yeah.
How far
Okay.
out do you think it will go? I'm expecting
Depends
like a
on how
lot
many
of people to be
people
here.
are coming to join. So
I mean,
each of these squares is 5 feet. So
Yeah.
you can assume just the average person would take up like one or two, like 2 per square. And so it
Okay.
could get big. It could get like this big. Nobody could come. It could get much bigger, or it could even extend all the way like here,
Potentially, that could also hinder the guards from their patrol route, right?
This is true.
Could they sneak through this back? Oh, sorry, this back way, or is that a house? Yeah, that's a house. My bad.
So there is a small way here. So there's about 5 to 10 feet that you're able to squeeze by through here. There is a way. Like basically, you probably could squeeze a horse back through here.
Okay.
And one thing that you did notice is initially people don't necessarily walk the back streets, and from the patrols that you have, they basically go this direction.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you can even get them to sneak down through here and even up through here towards the gate. Because down here is dangerous, because then you're going against the patrol. You want to be going with the patrol, I feel.
Yeah.
If anything.
You're definitely right with that. And also, if they come out that one, they've also got the guards on the palisade here. But if they come out here,
yeah, that's true.
then, I mean, they're gonna see him when he escapes, I guess. Unless.
Quick question, Lore Master. How tall is this little wall right here?
It's about 3 to 4 feet.
Okay, so they could jump it if they needed to.
Is the palisade here? Oh, I've stopped broadcasting on us. Here, the same height as the gate, or is the gate slightly
It's
higher?
5 foot lower than the towers, but it's the same height as the gate.
Okay.
So the towers are basically up 5 feet, up 5 feet. This rises 15 feet tall.
Well,
So
we might be
15,
fine then,
15,
Yeah.
because this
20,
5
20.
feet could obscure whatever's happening here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You'd have to more so just worry about this guy over here when
I
you're
mean-
opening the gate.
Yeah. True. Okay.
Well, if you can invite that guy over too to have a drink.
Yeah, and there's I don't know if you can see it, but there's ladders that are up here too. That's how they
Yeah.
run
Okay.
back and forth.
Okay.
By the way, I do have to get going. So
Oh shit! It's that late already.
it's late. Yeah, already. So I will
So you guys
see you
have
guys.
started diving into a plan. Dane, if you want to go ahead and post this, even if it's just posting it in our Discord server, just so both Nick and Leah can look at it, just for kind of thoughts on your guys' plan.
Oh, this
going forward.
session you
This
said?
session. So that
Yeah. I was planning on doing all that today. So yeah, no problem.
Cool. But thanks, Dane. Appreciate it always for dropping by. We will not quite end there. There's a couple things I want to double check with Theodric before we go, but you can go ahead and do that if you want.
We'll catch you later.
Theodric, so with this plan in place, everybody I'm going to assume is in general consensus, and because of that, it's reaching about 5:30-ish p.m. In the evening as you begin to think. Is there anywhere else that you wanted to investigate before heading back to Calum, or do you feel you have enough information to be able to go back to Calum and kind of tell him the plan?
I'm so torn. I like my plan. I feel like we're putting all of our eggs in one basket, though. And if it screws up... I'm gonna send it. Let's go back to Caleb and give him the deets.
I think we have a few good things, just in case. Just in case. I mean, I'm always willing to fight my way out of this. I mean, this is a dream after all. And then he looks kind of doubtingly.
I mean...
If we can just provide, if one distraction isn't enough, if we could provide enough of another distraction for them to slip out, I can't, especially, they have a horse. They can just ride out on a horse. They can move fast.
True. Jessamine, if things don't work out, do you think you could play the part of a crying little girl who's lost her father in the crowd?
Oh, of course. Easy. In fact, if there's anything, I'll be on the watch. I feel like I can blend in probably pretty good. I'll think about ways that I can perhaps make contingencies, just in case something does go astray. But I think I have a general idea of what I want to do. I think our plan's going well.
Okay. I hope it'll work too. I have a good feeling about this. Let's go tell Caleb.
And so you make your way back to the stables, and right before you make your way in, the last of you kind of recollect your thoughts, and you look at each other, and you feel confident in the things that are going to happen. You're not so sure about how they're going to react to your plan, but you you basically knock on the doors, and you don't hear anything, actually. You don't hear any voices.
Before I knock on the door, can I just make a perception check to make sure we weren't followed or anything?
Make a perception check for me.
That is a 9.
A 9? From what you can tell, you were not followed.
Okay. I knock on the door again, just kind of like trying to be quiet about it.
You don't hear any response.
Caleb? Caleb!
You hear as if somebody's literally right on the opposite side of where your ear is.
Is it Caleb's voice? Yeah.
It's a whisper. It could be.
It's the friends you made earlier today.
What is the name of the other person that is in here?
I keep forgetting. Oh no. Theralina? Thalissa.
You can hear a small unlatch as basically the block is drawn in front of the door to lock it. And he says, you come in and says, no guards with you, right? Nobody followed you.
Definitely not, and I'm 90% sure we weren't followed. Probably more than that, actually. I'm certain we weren't followed.
Come in, hurry. And he has you, and he closes the door immediately behind all of you. So, anything?
Okay, we have a vague... I actually like my plan a lot, but we have a plan in place for tonight to get you and your lady friend out of this town. Hopefully scot-free, and hopefully nobody will even notice until you're long gone.
But first, before any of this happens, that barding that I said, it's in a chest, and he points back to essentially the back corner. Phyllis and I spent some time. We pulled up a few of the floorboards and we buried it about 3 feet down until we hit rock. We covered it back up, put some hay on top of it. Meet us down at the Anduin as soon as you can.
Okay.
And with that, you begin kind of telling your plan and everything to him, and he begins nodding in agreement. I'm going to have you, Theodric, make a perception check.
Okay. Oh, I'm never good at those. That is a 7.
7. It's hard for you to, at first it's easy to miss, but then it becomes more and more evident. As you discuss the plan, you notice, you hear a... and immediately, you see Feynor on his knees, hands and knees, and he is coughing, desperately, packing up what looks to be something caught in his throat.
Feynor?
And immediately he belches and lets loose what looks to be a quart of water. Just all over the ground. And that is where we're going to end our session for tonight.
No! Kyle! You can't do this to me! Okay. Damn it. Always with the cliffhangers.
Always with the cliffhangers. Thoughts on tonight's session?
That was spectacular. I'm kind of super excited. We're doing like a kind of heist situation.
Well, it's very different. That's the one thing that I will say. Right? It's very different than anything that you guys have done.
Right?
So
I'm kind of glad to be able to flex our brains on this one and try and figure this out, because like it kind of beats our usual like, yeah, let's hit them real hard methodology. Or
yeah, absolutely.
You know, like even when we were dealing with Brindle and all the bad guys in Esgaroth, it was very much like hunt them down, beat them like a pinata for some answers, or bribe Brindle, and then hunt more
Dead
people
or
down.
alive.
Beat them more for answers for where's the bracer? But it feels nice to be like kind of doing this sneaky planning stuff.
Absolutely. And one of the things that like I'm really enjoying about sessions like this too is it kind of feels a little bit like a fellowship phase, but like there's stakes at play. And so there's like purpose and direction. And one of the things, actually my favorite part, kind of going into a little bit of my thoughts on tonight's session, about tonight's session, is actually the conversations that were happening inside the Fallen Goat about kind of just discovering and kind of coming to the realization of like, what is the stakes here? What are things between your conversations with Daniel and Jessamine, but even with Valinith and dealing with freaking Geb and trying to come up with a plan and like using the people that are at your disposal to achieve an end. Because I think like the one thing that would be easy is just to like look at like, I need to get as much information of all these people as possible. Instead, I love how you're all like, I could use all of these people to my advantage to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty fun too. Interacting with NPCs. I think that's like not just like NPC base level, but like high level NPC like interaction. I really appreciate that.
Right, I really wasn't expecting where Dain went with Geb. Like honestly, I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I immediately thought, okay, this guy's filler is kind of just to like pad out this inn. I don't like Geb. And then Valinith and you just took it someplace else, and I was like, okay, this is not where I was expecting it to go, and it was not what I was expecting of Geb. And we have something here. Like this is something that could really be useful and be integral, and it kind of is.
Well, and something between us two that I are really enjoying and appreciating about it too is, before the session, just kind of thinking, because this has kind of been a couple of sessions, well, I guess one session in the making, now two, about like planning things out. And like as a DM, like for all those who are listening out there, you do your job at trying to guess what the players are going to do, to either like add to it, go against it, whatever the thing, to be able to either make it more complex or whatever it is. I, in a million years, didn't expect the freaking dance party rave outside of the
Neither did
building.
I.
Oh my gosh.
When Dain was talking about his dance party, I was like, yeah, okay, like, yeah.
Speaking of Brindle back in Dale again.
Right? I was not expecting it to devolve into, we're throwing a citywide party. Hopefully we're going to get everyone drunk.
Yeah.
And
well,
everyone's
that
gonna
too. Be... That was something that was also really interesting. Just like the initial thought, like, let's get everybody.
Right?
There's a number of things that are laid out here as far as information players could have uncovered about like this area that you could use to your disposal, however you wanted. But yeah, this plan that you guys specifically have come up with, like I don't think I would have been able to put 2 and 2 together. But great job.
I'm honestly kind of a little bit, but I'm definitely pleased with myself. I'm a little bit proud of myself. I'm trying not to count my chickens before they hatch, but I'm pretty stoked with what Dain and I managed to put together this session.
I think it's a solid plan, and I'm so looking forward to see how dice rolls are going to go next session. Well, like dice rolls, but also like your own as players contingency plans. Like if things do go awry, I'm not saying inevitably it will, because it could just be something super simple. It's like plan went exactly as what we thought, and it's a well thought out plan that makes sense to me. Yeah. I'm just trying to like think like if something does go astray, something does go awry, what are you guys going to do? And so kind of homework going forward is definitely to think about that, which is why I want to encourage Dain to get this out as soon as possible, so both Leah and Nick could take a look at it so they know kind of this developed plan and like be able to fit into that. And if you guys want to talk on Discord later, feel free to do so about that. But it's just
Definitely.
I'm so looking forward to see this, and I know I always say it's like playing with and against you, but I want to do all that I can to make sure you don't succeed in this thing. But no, listen, but not without reason. Like, it's completely in your hands, and a little bit of fate to see how dice rolls go. But I love how calculated you were when it came to devising the plan, and I'm just like, I want you to succeed, but I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure you don't succeed. But it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a party.
I think the main issue, or the only issue I had with tonight's session, and it's not even an issue that is really anything we can do about, is just like when we don't have players here, and I'm not saying like, oh, Leah and Nick should have put aside whatever they're doing to be here, because that's not fun, and you don't like playing with people who are always like that.
FYI, for all of those who are watching, we try to be very respectful of our player characters that aren't able to join. Things happen, life happens. Ultimately, this is a game. I know for some people D&D is a life, but this is a game between good friends, and we're just enjoying ourselves, and we're being understanding as possible. So,
like, I wasn't here last week, so, you know. But I think the main issue I have with Leah and Nick not being here is I kind of feel like Dain and I excluded them from the heist process and everything.
No, because the nice thing about the end of last session too, I think it like builds upon each other to like, because at first like both Leah and Nick were discussing at the end of last session like what are possible things that we can do, and it kind of got the thoughts percolating about like potential things that you could do. And I try to play the players as close to their player as possible. I actually think I mentioned this at the end of last session about how I always hate the excuse that it's like you justify something where like a player justifies what they're doing, but like, it's what my character would do. I think it's lazy. But as a DM, that's all I have to go off of. It's what the character would do. So I try to do my best for that. So hopefully for both you, Leah, and Nick, I hope I did good for you guys. It's always tough doing that, but it's hard being a DM too, filling in and using missing players as NPCs to the best that you can to help things along too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But no, I'm really stoked to see how this plan goes. Gosh, I really hope we're all here next week.
Me too. It'll be good. I'm honestly so looking forward to seeing how the plan unfurls, and then just like going forward to just really figure out kind of like what you were saying during the session. It's like, what is the point? Why are we here? And to varying degrees, as we heard from Nick last time with Feanor about like, oh, our mission is just to finish things up. Where with we have Jess basically being like, we need to help them for love. It's the responsible thing to do. And Helenith is just like, I could throw a dance party.
I love it.
No, it's good. And so like it's fun being able to see how each player thinks about everything individually, and you guys can be calculated in your actions and think of potential ways to make this work out, especially with a character that is immediately guarded, someone who is like Calum Grimm, who is in a state basically in a desperate state. Fortunately, it's the past, and as I had mentioned before, there's no such thing as a Dark Lord Grimm. I mean, it kind of sounds like a Grimm name, but so you can kind of you get a little bit of information that you can trust from him. But
exactly.
It's good.
I have to say, I'm so like, I got home and I was so exhausted, and I was like, I'm gonna do D&D. I don't want to miss out again. But like, my energy levels when I got here were so low, and right now, even though we're about to end the session, I'm wide awake. I am pumped. I am hyped, and I just
hopefully everybody else out there is the same too. Clearly Dain wasn't, but it's also he woke up at 2 a.m. So
yeah, no, I love doing these sessions with you guys.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's interesting too seeing kind of different party dynamics. I don't think we've had a session where it's just been you and Dain too, and so interesting seeing how you guys interact. It's interesting as opposed to like I don't know, like Nick and Leah doing their kind of like shtick together too. It's very interesting to see kind of how the party works together. But yes, I hope, like you said, everybody's back for next week. It'll be awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. It's gonna be sick.
Right.
But before we do go, is there anything else that you want to add to your thoughts before jumping into the end here?
I'm kind of curious if we're gonna see any sort of relations to the blood rage situation and the origins perhaps of that. Who knows?
Who knows? No, absolutely. I think it'll be super exciting to be able to see that. But, I guess we'll have to play. We'll have to continuously, weekly figure out what's going on with.
See where the DM and the dice rolls take us.
True. Exactly. But before we do go, there are a few streams that we have for the remainder of the week. Later today, Dain will be continuing his 2 p.m. stream Mountain Time with some more Bloodborne. So he'll be doing Bloodborne then. He'll be doing Bloodborne at 2 p.m. on Thursday Mountain Time. And then on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. JST, we have Everlast, or not D&D, oh my gosh, I'm so used to saying that. My game that I'm creating, my own tabletop RPG set in the world of Everlast, and they're currently in a dungeon in the depths of Tali Tali, trying to help King Farron to rescue Princess Mira. So should be really fun. They're in combat right now, so they're fighting for their lives and trying to collect keys in order to uncover the secrets behind where the princess is taken to. And so there's that, and then on Saturday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, Dain will be doing his Halloween stream, his last Halloween stream for basically the month of October for spooky season for Halloween. And so tune in for that, and then just normal stream schedules next week as well. What else? Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Yes.
Dice Snacky.
Dice Snacky is a wonderful family-run business here in Tokyo, Japan. They sell Japanese snacks, from popular Japanese snacks in their omakase box to traditional Japanese snacks in the omakase looks box. And then they also have character snacks in their Japanese kawaii box as well. And until the end of the month, so what is it, like less than a week, for Halloween, they have their autumn box for sale. So make sure to take them up on that offer. They have a lot of specifically autumn-themed snacks. So one thing that Japan has, and what I've loved about living here in Japan, is their snacks change and the flavors change with the seasons, and fall time happens to be my favorite season for flavors. You got sweet potato, you got chestnut, you got pumpkin, you got all the delicious flavors. I love it. I'm not super into like super sweet things, so I think this is my best season. So, but I definitely check them out, and if you do, say Fantasy Forge sent you at checkout, and also say that you put your Twitch name to get tickets towards a raffle once we hit our referral limit. They are going to give away a free omakase box too here on the channel, and you'll get raffle tickets if you mention your Twitch name. That's the way that they help us be able to track you for who bought stuff. So it's super exciting, very good, and until then, may the road go ever onward and onward. Thank you to my 2 players that joined us, and hopefully to next week for everybody here. But I will see you all. I will see you guys on Saturday, but we'll return here with more Adventures in Middle-earth next Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.